This is not how the war began. It's how every war ends when humanity fails. Decades of hatred, years of fear, a world pushed beyond its limits. 50 million were dead. Cities were erased. Civilizations reduced to ash and rubble. This wasn't a victory, it was a warning, because the next war would not need trenches or armies or millions of soldiers. It would need only one decision, one moment, one order, a single weapon capable of ending everything. This is World War II. Never before had so many owed so much to so few.
On December 7th, 1941, America was not at war. 8 minutes later, it was. It was a quiet Sunday morning in Hawaii. Battleships rested in the harbor. Sailors were eating breakfast. Then the sky turned black. Japanese aircraft roared overhead. Bombs tore through steel. Ships burned. Men drowned inside their own ships. In less than 2 hours, over 2,400 Americans were dead. The next day, the United States declared war. A regional conflict became a global one. Japan had struck first, but the next battle would be fought at sea. And at Midway, the balance of the Pacific would change forever.
Japan had struck first at Pearl Harbor. Now, it was coming to finish the job. 6 months after the attack, Japan ruled the Pacific. Midway Island was the trap. If it fell, Hawaii was next. But the Americans were waiting, not with ships, but with information. In minutes, American dive bombers changed history. 4 Japanese aircraft carriers burned. The heart of Japan's navy was gone. Midway was the turning point. From now on, Japan would only retreat. The Pacific War would now be fought, one island at a time. Midway shattered Japan's fleet, but it didn't end the war. Now the fight would move to land. A forgotten island called Guadalcanal. In August 1942, U.S. Marines landed on a remote jungle island. Guadalcanal, no one expected it to become hell. The jungle rotted men alive. Disease, hunger, constant rain. Day belonged to America. Night belonged to Japan. Every night, Japanese ships struck. Every night, soldiers fought hand to hand. No front lines, no mercy. After 6 months of blood, Japan withdrew. For the first time, the empire was pushed back. From now on, America would advance island by island. They were told the bombing would leave no one alive. They were wrong. They thought it would take 3 days. In November 1943, U.S. Marines hit the beaches of Tarawa. The tide was wrong. Boats stopped. Men had to walk. Japanese bunkers were waiting. Machine guns tore through the water. There was no cover, only coral, blood, and fire. Every bunker had to be burned. Every meter was paid in lives. After 76 hours, Tarawa fell. Over 1,000 Americans were dead. This was the price of island hopping, and worse islands were coming. Saipan wasn't just a battle. It was a mass suicide. They preferred the ocean to surrender. For the first time in the war, Japan was within reach. In June 1944, U.S. forces landed on Saipan, another island, another bloodbath. Japanese resistance was fierce. No surrender, no retreat. But the horror didn't end with soldiers. Thousands of civilians were told Americans would torture them. Many chose the cliffs instead. From Saipan, American bombers could now reach Japan. The road led forward to Iwo Jima, a single flag on a forgotten mountain. It became a symbol of victory, born from pure hell. They thought it would be easy. They were wrong. In February 1945, U.S. Marines landed on Iwo Jima. The sand swallowed men. The island was alive. The enemy wasn't on the beach. They were underground. The flag was raised. America cheered, but the fighting didn't stop. Nearly 7,000 Americans would die here. And worse was still coming. Okinawa. They weren't just pilots. They were guided missiles with a soul. The kamikaze. This wasn't just another island. This was the last step before Japan. After Iwo Jima fell, the war moved closer than ever. Okinawa stood in the way. Rain never stopped. Mud swallowed men alive. Every hill became a grave. Japanese defenses were buried underground. Every cave had to be taken. Every meter was paid in blood. And in the sky, pilots turned their planes into weapons. Kamikaze attacks struck day and night. Civilians were trapped between armies. Some were forced to fight. Others chose death over surrender. When Okinawa finally fell, more than 200,000 were dead. Soldiers, sailors, civilians. If this was the cost of one island, what would invading Japan cost? It was called Little Boy, but it held the power of 26 million pounds of explosives. The invasion was canceled. Something else replaced it. One plane took off. No fighter escort. No return fire expected. Below it, a city waking up. Schools opened. Trams moved. Life continued. At 8:15 the sun fell to D. The blast erased streets. Shadows burned into stone. People vanished in seconds. Those who survived envied the dead. Firestorms, radiation, a city poisoned. But Japan did not surrender. So the world watched as another plane was prepared.
Hiroshima burned. Japan still did not surrender. 3 days later, another plane took off. The target was Kokura. Clouds saved it. So the bomber turned toward Nagasaki at 11:02 a.m. A second sun fell. The bomb was stronger. The valley absorbed part of the blast. But tens of thousands still died. There would be no third bomb. Japan finally understood. The war did not end with victory. It ended with silence. World War II didn't end with cheers. It ended with ash. 2 cities were gone. The world waited. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. There would be no third bomb. Inside Japan, leaders argued in silence. The choice was simple and impossible. On August 15, 1945, the emperor spoke. For the first time in history, across the world, guns fell silent, planes turned back, the killings stopped. Weeks later, on a steel deck in Tokyo Bay, the war was signed away. World War II did not end with victory. It ended, so the world could survive. History remembers who won, but it never forgets the cost. The war was over, but the world was not at peace. Europe lay in ruins, cities erased, millions displaced. 2 new powers emerged. America, the Soviet Union. Alliances formed, borders shifted, the Cold War began, and above everything, a new fear remained, the bomb. World War II ended in 1945, but its shadow never did.